Welcome, welcome. It is Dawn with For Grace Creations, and I thought I would take advantage of the fact that there is nobody in the house but me and the dogs right now. But of course, I'm looking for something and I can't find it. Anyway, so the kooky paper we made, let me grab this one here. You remember we just glued, anyway, I'll link the kooky paper playlist below so you can check out how we did this. I noticed that one side is really smooth and the other is not. And the smooth side is whatever side was down, remember when we made it? And in order to turn this kooky paper into journaling cards and tags and things like that, that we may, maybe we want to, like this. Here's one I turned into a tag. And I did a collage here. But, we want writing space on the back. And whether we create writing space or glue paper or something to the back, either way, the back of this is so smooth that I don't know that anything glued to it is going to actually stick. So here's what I've been doing. Grab your kooky paper, find the smooth side, put that side up, and then grab some gesso. If you don't have gesso, grab a white acrylic paint. I have super heavy gesso. I have regular gesso. I have a light pink paint next to me. What I did to my others is, okay, so this is one side, and the other side, I don't have enough room here. I used some white acrylic paint and pink acrylic paint on this one. And then this is that side. And on the back, I used half is super heavy gesso, half is regular gesso, and I just let it dry. I have a test that I want to do with this. So grab your paper. Let's start with gesso. Now to apply the gesso, I'm going to use an old gift card. And actually, this was never used. This coffee company actually let me take this home without it ever being used, which was nice. I love the color. That kind of earthy, almost has a shade of pink to it. But what I was looking for was my Bible verse book, the Names of God study. And I found it. It's over here. All right, so let's just go to where that is. Okay. Names of God. Let's find our Bible verse. Boy, name above all names, near, need meter, never changing, never failing, new life. Let's do need meter, just because it sounds funny. Philippians 4, verse 19 says, "But my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches and glory by Jesus Christ." Hebrews 4:16 says, "Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need." And then it asks, what do these verses tell you about the nature and character of God? Well, if we go back and look again, God wants to supply our needs. But look at this. Let us therefore come boldly. Okay, he also wants us to come to him with our needs. I mean, everything that we have, even the breath in our lungs, is from him. He supplies it all. So why wouldn't we go to him with the things that we need? And really, grace is the very first thing that we need. So, just a thought for today. And I think we'll go and put our marker. Oh, goodness. Where did I put it? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. I have a scrap a fabric here. Oh, there it is. All I had to do is look down. Let's just put our bookmark back in there. Set it aside. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to grab our card and gesso. Now, when your bottle gets like this and you can't close it, that usually means there's some junk that's hardened at the top. And mine has quite a bit up there. All right, and then close it up and shake it before you use it. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plop some on here like this. You could put this on like parchment paper or a tile or a sheet of any other paper and work from there to place it on here. I just figure I'm making a mess today anyway. So you just plop it on there. And I am just dragging it all over. That is going to give this really smooth paper, or smooth, kind of gluey stuff, some texture so that it's not, it'll grip, you know, if we want to glue things to it or if we want to write on it, and even, you know, you could even do this to the other side, and all you'd be doing is kind of dulling down the colors if you used bright colors. Like on this, I use neutrals. But if you have scraps that you use that are bright colors and you don't want to use that once you make your kooky paper, just come in with a layer of gesso. And I'm going to put a little more down in that corner. And spread it out just a little bit more. And then, of course, we need to set this aside to dry. Now, when I'm done working with paint or gesso, I grab a napkin or a baby wipe and I just wipe it off. It just makes this card last longer so it doesn't get chunky, weird spots on it, if that makes any sense. So we've got that part done, but I do need this to dry thoroughly. So I'm just going to set it aside and we'll come in here with this one that I've already done. And what I thought we could do is a couple things. Number one, cut this kooky paper into tag shapes. And then maybe a few journaling cards. It just depends on how big your kooky paper is, what you're going to get out of it. And, you know, like these are kind of tall, or I should say long tags. You know, we didn't have to do it that big. We could go here. But what I want to check first is the back of this has gesso on it. I want to know, can we write on this now that there's gesso? So I'm going to take a couple of different things. Let's see. I've got, aha. All right. I have a Sharpie, just a regular ballpoint pen, a pencil, and this is a, I don't know. Let's try the I don't know first. See that? Okay. So let's say we're gonna, what should we write? You can write on it now that there's gesso. Let's try the next pen. No, pencil. R. Okay, that works. Ballpoint pen. Dearly. It works. Yay. Loved. Okay. So we can write on it with anything now that there's gesso. But I'll tell you what. We would not have been able to write on this if it was just that really smooth surface of basically glue, right? There's no way. But now also, if you don't like the looks of the back, say you think this is ugly, okay? You now have enough texture on there. You could glue some, maybe coffee dyed paper to the back, you know? And then the fronts here are now ready to either be collaged, or you could leave them like this even, but decorated however you want. So now that we know that works, yay, I was a little worried. Let's put all these silly pens back out of the way. And this here, I wonder if I can make it. There we go. You can see, look at this mess. I love it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my big, huge cutter. This is, let's see, it's 12 inches wide by 12 inches in length. It's big. And I thought what we try doing is, you see the edges here? We have our napkin sticking off. You know, they're just wonky edges. I want to see if I can cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut by eyeballing a straight line so that I now have some nice edges. Now, is it straight? Probably not. I mean, the cutters went straight, but I didn't, maybe I had it in there crooked. I don't care. I just went as straight as possible. Now, you could throw these away, or you could save them and use them in collaging or more kooky paper. Anyway, I'm going to set them aside and save it. Now, I'm going to do the other side here. If you don't have one, it'd be these big, huge trimmers. Don't worry about it. Just use scissors. Do your best to kind of cut a straight line, because we just want to clean up the edges. See, this is not going to fit in there. So I will come in and attempt straight-ish, which I already can see that I went wonky, and that's okay, not a big deal. The other thing we could do is cut this in half to make it easier to work with. Okay. Again, eyeballing it. And now we can cut this wonky edge off. And again, I'm just really trying to eyeball a straight line. Now, can you tell? That's crooked. It's not exactly straight. But that's okay, because I'm going to actually make maybe tag, or how big is this? This is almost 10 inches by, let's see, 7 inches. So maybe go, I'm just going to look what's hanging over here. That's about wide enough for a tag. And maybe we'll do, let's do a wide tag. And then we're left with this, right? So let's cut it in half, and let's just do a couple journaling cards. All right, so now we're looking at them. Are they exactly straight? No, but I can see that line there is straight. This one is straight. It's this side here that is not. So let's zoom you in a little. And what I'll do is I'll just come over here and I'll square it up a little bit. See, much better. Now, I will say, these, if you have one of these corner rounders, these might be a little tough to get them in. And, okay, that one is going to work. Will this side? Oh, that one works. Oh, that one. Let's see if that one works. Yeah. Okay, so that happened to work for that one. But if you don't have this, or your kooky paper's too thick, just come around and round the edges yourself as best as you can. For me, I suck at doing that. Look, one side looks great. The other is like, oh, goodness sakes. So I just kind of work with it till I think it's better. And you don't have to round the edges. I just like them that way. Oh, boy. Like I said, I'm not very good at that part. But then I will come in. You don't have to do this either, but I'm going to come in since these are fairly neutral. And I'm just going to give the edges a little bit of walnut stain oxide, distress oxide. But again, you don't need to do that. Now these are fairly thick because of all the layers we used. And see, there's 2 more journal cards ready to go. We could put a little fussy cut on it or a little sentiment, anything. But for now, we'll just set them aside. Now the longer ones that I did here, I could turn into tags very, very easily. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut one off, and then I'm going to be like, okay, was that right there? Yes, it was. So now I'm going to turn it over and bring it over here. Line it up as best as possible. Chomp it, and look, we should have even sides. Now, this is where you could come in and make a hole at the top in the center. You can now put in your lace or whatever you want, or you could put in an eyelet, a brad, anything you want right there. Or if you don't want to make a hole in that, what we can do is we can, let's see, I'm going to cut off this side. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to flip it over here. There we go. And then what we can do is grab a little lace. Let's say maybe that much. Not really paying attention. Hold it right here. And then right there on the back. Okay, and now get your stapler. Tiny attacher, the Tim Tiny, do you know what I'm trying to say? A regular stapler or a teeny tiny one, this Tim Holtz Ideology thing. Not everybody has the tiny one, so I'm going to use the big one. You can get these at the Dollar Tree, an office supply store, basically anywhere. And I gave it yet some more mixed media, some more texture by adding staples. And I think that looks kind of cool, just like it is. Now, we could go around with some sort of a oxide. I mean, like this kind of has, what colors? Like yellowy, orangey. What do I have that might, I mean, I've got carved pumpkin, but that's like, whoa, orange. What about brushed corduroy is kind of a brown, but look, when it's wet, it kind of turns yellowish. I don't think we want that. That's really yellow, but let's go for it. What we'll do, is just rub it on there and see what happens. Oh, fun. Now over here. There we go. Just a little something around the edges. Now you could do the back. How fun is this? Using our kooky paper. All right, let's put this yellow away. So now we have another tag. Yay! And I mean, we could totally decorate it, but I had another idea. So, let's see. I was kind of thinking we could try and get this to where that's not really straight. Let me back up. I want to try and get this to where we could use it maybe as a journal topper. You know, just something to put right up front. Which piece? I'm thinking maybe right here. And so what I would do is grab, okay, we'll just grab This is from Crystal. She Kool-Aid dyed me some papers. So we'll just grab one of these. Well, we'll just use that. And we know, well, for me, I know that my journal is going to probably be about this big. And so I kind of want something that's decent sized. So maybe, oh, look, that length is good. So maybe like right about here. So I'm going to cut it. Right there. And then, yeah, that could be the front of a journal. But, you know, I think it's too big. Let's chop off a little bit here. And then a little on the other side. So it's a little more of a square. Yeah, I like that better. Because then what you can do, just grab scrap fabric. And I'm going to place it right here. And then I know that I will want to tear it somewhere right actually there. And then probably right there. And we'll just tear. And, oh goodness. Doesn't really want to tear. Okay, well, we tried. And then lay it out, kind of like this. And then I'm going to go right about there. Okay. And that might be a little too big. So I think what we'll do is tear a little more off. Ooh, I love the furry fuzzies on the edges. Yeah, there we go. And then we just glue these together. And let's move this actually. And here's some glue. And because we put down gesso and acrylic paint, we know that this glue will actually stick to the fabric. And all I'm doing is creating kind of a simple neutral base so that later when I need a journal topper, I can grab this and then I can come back and whatever, maybe a theme I've got going on in my journal or colors, I can add a focal point to this. Do you see what I mean? It just is, it makes it a little quicker down the road when you have a project you want to do. And we'll just press it down really good. And then we'll let it dry and set it aside. And then little offcuts like that, I mean, that could be a small tag. So why don't I go ahead and just snip off a couple of the sides. We'll try and make it a little more even, Dawn. And I'll give it a little tiny hole with my crocodile here. And now I have a plain journaling card or tag ready to go in my pile. And that is what I'm doing today with the kooky paper. I'm not going to do, I might do one more of these, but my focus is mainly on creating tag bases and journal card bases out of this kooky paper. Because if you haven't made this yet, you should. It feels so cool, you guys. It is so fun. Let me know in the comments, did you make any kooky paper? And what colors, if you did, what colors of scraps did you find that you had a lot of? I have this here, and this is fabric scraps as well as paper scraps. And I used colorful things here. And I'm debating using this as a journal cover, but I'm noticing that because I use tissue paper and only one layer, it is kind of starting to break. So maybe that, I don't know, you guys, because there's multiple things I could do. I could, now that we have our gesso on the back, I could glue fabric to this and make it into a journal cover. I could glue more paper to this and make it a journal cover. I even could actually turn this into pages in a journal. You know what? Let's do that. So what we'll do here, I think we'll cut it in half, approximately. I mean, I'm not getting this exact. Okay, we've got it cut in half that way. And then we could cut it in half this way. And now these are two smaller pieces, but what we can do is fold it right there. And it is now a small journal page, you know, because for me, I like to have different sizes in there. And even though this can be written on, what I'll do, see it's ripping, what I'll actually do is come in with some, let's see if I can find a little bit here. Maybe a book page, or I have this scrap from an old music sheet cover. We could just glue that down and then fold it. Okay, so let's do that really quick. And then I do have a little drawer set aside where I put pre-made journal pages in, if that makes sense. I just have them sitting there so I can kind of dig through and find colors and themes that I might want to use in a journal that I'm making down the road. Now, if we had not put this acrylic paint or gesso on this paper, it would not stick to this paper. It would be way too slippery. So that is my reasoning behind showing you this. But now we know that we could leave it blank if you know, it's sturdy enough like the others were, and just use it as writing space. Okay. And I'm just using this card to put pressure and kind of move that glue around. Oh, but look, I wanted the blank side showing so we could write on it. What happens if you do something like that you didn't mean to do? Let me show you. We kind of want this glue to dry first, I was thinking, but that's okay. Let's come in here and, oh, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make it even wonkier. I love some wonky pages in a journal. If you don't, go ahead and trim it right at the edge. But I love me some character, some wonky now and then. Okay, so we'll turn it over, and now what we'll do, we'll just put a little bit of gesso, right? Okay, and then here's what we're gonna do. Grab this card. We're just gonna smear this all over so that the writing from that book page or that music book cover is just kind of dulled down in the background. Because, as we just learned in the beginning of the video, we can write on surfaces that have had gesso put on them. And then we just let it dry. But it kind of dulls down some of it. Now, if that's not enough for you, let it dry and add more. But you could write on this now. Let's say you want more. Okay. Let's try that. Yeah, you just add until you're done. Till it is exactly how you want it. smoothie around. And then, remember, I always come back and wipe off my card just to get the chunks off of there. And there we go. When it is dry, I will fold it again, and it will be put into my drawer of pre-made journal pages. Now, I will have to obviously do more to this because, like, if this is in a journal, I will end up, you know, wanting to do something to it. Maybe a cluster, something like that. All right, you guys. Well, have fun with your kooky paper, and I shall see you back here tomorrow. And I am so glad that we are working on Finish It February, because these kooky papers, we started them, you know, a little while ago. And that's what we're doing. We're finishing it up. And I'll use this Finish It February. I should have started with this. I'll use the hashtag Finish It February. So if you do something with your kooky paper, tag me and then use the hashtag Finish It February. I am doing Finish It February as a part of the hashtag How Do You Do Art. And if I remember, I will put in the description box below Cheryl at the Whole Bucket, who has come up with this whole How Do You Do Art idea. And I will try to remember to link some other creators too, so you can see how they're doing Finish It February. But I got to go finish these up. I only have a few pieces left. Yay! And I'm going to make tags out of these for sure. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.